Eric, back at Naturopath. Thank you for coming back. We're talking about the health benefits of polyphenols. If you haven't seen the previous video I did of polyphenols, what are polyphenols, and how they work, check that video out. So what we're going to talk about now is why these compounds found in plants and various things in nature are so good for you, and particularly what conditions are they good for. Well, it's well known now through research dating back probably 100 years or more. The plant-based foods are obviously superior for health than most other foods we can eat. But it's the actual chemicals inside these plants that are really beneficial for us, as well as their structure. Right? Herbal medicine, if you look at people like me who used herbal medicines in their clinic for decades and decades, and people before me, going right back 100 years plus, people used a lot of herbal medicines and still do today. The herbal medicines are compounds often that use alcohol as an extraction method, okay? Anywhere from 5, 10, 20, up to 40%. So alcohol has a fantastic ability to extract, the polyphenol compounds out of a wide range of plants, as well as alkaloids and different chemicals out of plants. These are basically drugs, okay? So the first doctors, the first medical doctors were actually, in fact, on my shelf here, on one of my bookshelves, I've got a medical book, a British medical book from 1903. And the book's basically full of herbal medicines that medical doctors used in practice. Of course, until pharmacy came along, after the war, and then just killed it all off. But people like me still use herbal medicines, and they're still effective. Now, why? Herbal medicines are basically natural drugs. We've extracted the natural drugs, particularly the polyphenol compounds, out of a wide range of plants, and we've got that in a bottle, a herbal medicine bottle. Now, a bottle of red wine, the finest Pinot Noir, well, this isn't exactly Pinot Noir, okay, but okay, let's just say it's blue wine from Iceland or something, but a really good bottle of Pinot or Cabernet Sauvignon, okay, with an alcoholic content of 13%, will have a lot of polyphenols extracted in that wine. And this is why a small glass of red wine a day is exceptional for health, because you've got such a high polyphenol content in there. Right? Anyway, getting off track here, but let's look at a couple of the key things that polyphenols will do to your body if you take them in regularly. One thing we know is that they have a nice effect on lowering blood sugar levels. And a study showed that people who were consuming a much higher plant-based diet loaded with polyphenol-rich foods had a almost 60% ability to develop diabetes than people who didn't. People who were prone to getting diabetes didn't really develop it like they predictably should have developed it, because the polyphenol content was so high of the diet. So the risk is reduced, okay? And the risk is reduced because of its effect on blood sugar. So when you start having a high polyphenol content diet, it delays the ability of starch to break down to simple sugars. So it's stopping basically spikes in blood sugar. All right. There are many other compounds in polyphenol foods that are beneficial. Like if we look at onion, for example, exceptionally good food for the bowel, high in polyphenols and flavonoids. Particularly, I think it's quercetin, which is exceptionally good also for diabetics, for other reasons. So plants basically are medicines. And that's what Hippocrates always said, the father of medicine, let food be your medicine, okay? So lowering blood sugar levels is a really good reason to have more green tea in your diet, or a small piece of dark chocolate, or a cup of blueberries, every day. All those foods rich in polyphenols. This is what you want to eat if you want to prevent a lot of disease, all right? So lowering blood sugar, lowering risk of diabetes, lowering risk of heart disease, all right? Reducing risk of chronic inflammation leading to heart disease. Most disease comes from inflammation. We know that. If we look at the three big ones, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, inflammation underpins. If we can knock inflammation, slash it down, we can reduce the risk. And that's what polyphenols will do for you, okay? So A was lowering blood sugar levels, stopping that flux of blood sugar, lowering diabetes risk. B is lowering your risk of heart disease by reducing chronic inflammation. 2 studies have also shown, for example, that a high polyphenol content diet will lower the bad cholesterol, and another study showed that it increases the good cholesterol. The third reason why you want to put polyphenol foods in your diet is because of its ability to stop platelet aggregation or blood clotting. Now, blood clotting is good, okay? if you cut yourself, like I think I cut my neck yesterday on a nail. I was working outside and just working around the yard, and I got a big scratch, 4-inch nail, shing, scratched my neck. Now within an hour or so, poof, that's all clotted up. That's basically healing. Okay, so you want the blood to clot in appropriate areas, but of course you don't want inappropriate blood clotting leading to thrombosis, leading to stroke, okay, leading to heart attack, all these kinds of things. So to stop inappropriate platelet aggregation, we need to have a diet that's sufficient in foods that will prevent that. And again, polyphenols will help to mitigate that, will help to stop the inappropriate platelet clumping up. All right? So again, if you've got a diet rich in saturated fats like deep fried fats, soda drinks, Dunkin' Donuts and junk like that, well, it's not exactly going to do your blood system much good, is it? You're probably going to end up with some type of heart disease or circulatory disease with a crappy diet like that. So if we look at the fourth area, it's brain function. Again, many studies have shown this, that people who have a high polyphenol content diet tend to have better memory, okay, better recall, and also less chance of getting dementia and problems like that as they get older. Ginkgo biloba, the famous herb ginkgo, is high in polyphenols. It's a very antioxidant-rich herbal medicine. Chocolate, red wine, a small amount of red wine per day will go a long way. So there's a study I was reading, an interesting one, where they gave a group of people grapefruit juice to drink, older people, for 12 weeks, and they found their memory improved after 12 weeks just from that one glass of grapefruit juice per day. It's amazing. So if we look at area number 5, the cancer risk is reduced. And that's because polyphenols have an interesting effect on the immune system, okay, as well as targeting cancer cells directly. So certain cancer cell lines are really reduced, seriously reduced, under the influence of various polyphenols in the diet. What do we got here? That's right. A study also showed a high polyphenol level had a reduction of multiple cancers. So various cancers, the risk reduction has been linked to polyphenols basically. And the last one, which is number 6, good bacteria increase. So polyphenols also increase bifidobacteria, or good bacteria in your digestive system. And there are certain polyphenols also that help to reduce the risk of salmonella and C. diff, Clostridium difficile, and E. coli infections in the gut. So suffice to say, polyphenols are really what you want to have in your diet. Okay, you're not going to get those benefits from eating meat. You're going to get it more from eating vegetables, fruits, and compounds high in antioxidants. Thanks for tuning in.